Hello everyone. In this video, I want to start with a deceptively simple question. What is psychology really? Most people feel they already know the answer. We've all been thinking about people our entire lives. We explain behavior, emotions, relationships, success, and failure almost automatically. So why do we need psychology as a scientific discipline at all? Psychology often feels like common sense after you hear it. You encounter a psychological idea and think, well, yes, that seems obvious. But here's the problem. Common sense is extremely good at explaining things after they happen. It's much less good at predicting things in advance or being consistently right. Let me make that concrete. Imagine two students who both fail an exam. In one case, we might say the students didn't study enough. Maybe they lacked discipline or managed their time poorly. In the other case, we might say that they had an unfair exam, that the questions were unclear, or the marking was too harsh. Now imagine two students who do very well on the test. We say they are intelligent, motivated, or naturally good at the subject. What matters here is not which explanation is correct. It's that all of them feel plausible depending on the outcome we already know. Common sense is very good at producing explanations that fit the result after the fact. Psychology exists because intuition is powerful, persuasive, and unreliable. Psychologists have a specific name for one of the most important ways intuition goes wrong. It's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias refers to our tendency to seek out, notice, and remember information that supports what we already believe, while giving much less attention to information that challenges it. What makes confirmation bias especially powerful is that it does not feel like bias. From the inside, it feels like being careful, selective, and reasonable. In the reading for this week, Nickerson reviews decades of research showing just how pervasive confirmation bias is, not just in everyday reasoning, but in scientific thinking, professional judgment, and expert decision-making. This is one of the central reasons psychology cannot rely on intuition alone. Even when we are trying to be objective, our reasoning is quietly shaped by what we already believe. Let me give you a concrete example. Suppose you believe that people's personalities are fixed, that people don't really change. When someone behaves consistently over time, you see that as strong evidence you were right. When someone behaves differently, you may explain it away as a temporary exception or a special circumstance. Now, suppose you believe that people are fundamentally shaped by their environment. The very same behaviors now look like evidence that context matters and consistency becomes something that needs explaining. In both cases, the same world appears to confirm very different conclusions. That's confirmation bias at work, not because people are dishonest, but because evidence is filtered through prior beliefs. When psychologists say that psychology is a science, they are making a commitment about how knowledge is generated. Science is grounded in empiricism, the idea that claims must be ultimately tied to observation and evidence, not intuition, authority, or tradition. That does not mean scientists never reason or theorize. It means that reasoning has to be accountable to evidence. Science is also fundamentally skeptical. Skepticism does not mean cynicism. It means that claims are treated as provisional and open to challenge, no matter how compelling they sound or who makes them. These commitments are not optional. They are what distinguish scientific explanations from other ways of understanding the world. Psychology is the scientific study of mind and behavior. It studies behavior because behavior is observable and measurable. It studies the mind, beliefs, emotions, intentions, memories, even those cannot be observed directly. And it studies both systematically in ways designed to reduce bias and error. Historically, psychology has wrestled with a tension. Some explanations feel deep, insightful, and satisfying, but are difficult to test. Others may feel limited or superficial, but allow evidence to accumulate. In the 19th century, thinkers like Auguste Comte argued that science should avoid explanations based on speculation, metaphysics, or hidden forces, and instead focus on what can be observed and measured. This way of thinking strongly influenced early psychology. Even figures like Freud saw themselves as working scientifically, despite later debates about whether their theories actually met scientific standards. The important point here is not whether Freud was right or wrong, it's that psychology did not become scientific by accident. It argued its way there. One influential answer to the question, what makes something scientific, comes from the philosopher Karl Popper. Popper argued that what matters is not whether a theory can explain many things, but whether it can, in principle, be proven wrong. A scientific claim makes risky predictions, predictions that could fail. The danger in psychology is explanations that can be adjusted to fit almost any outcome. When a theory explains everything, it ends up explaining nothing in a scientific sense. This idea will matter throughout the course because it pushes us to ask us not whether an explanation sounds plausible, but whether it actually puts itself at risk when confronted with evidence. One of the most common misconceptions about psychology is this: if an explanation makes sense, it must be true. In reality, many psychological explanations sound plausible and later turn out to be wrong, exaggerated, or highly context-dependent. The scientific approach exists to protect us from our own confidence. In the workshop this week, you will see how easily reasonable people can arrive at confident but flawed conclusions simply by relying on intuition and selective evidence. One reason students sometimes find this course challenging is that psychology feels intuitive until you try to justify your conclusions carefully. You may feel certain about why something happens, but struggle to explain how you would demonstrate it scientifically. That gap between feeling certain and being able to justify that certainty is exactly where psychology lives as a science. If this course sometimes makes you less confident in your immediate conclusions, that is not a sign that you are learning less. It is often a sign that you are learning more carefully. In the next video, we'll look at how psychological knowledge is actually built, from claims to evidence to inference. And we'll confront another misconception, that one good study is enough to establish a claim. I'll see you in the next video.